Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. We are heading in for an in-depth live panel as we discuss Star Trek Strange New World Season Three's episode Four and a Half Vulcans. We'll explore the episode's theme, storytelling, character development, and unique moments that make it stand out. Nah. Whether you're a Star Trek veteran or a new fan, this is your chance to share thoughts and insights about the episode's impact on the series. Tune in for engaging discussions and live debate. Don't miss it. Oh, yeah. Today's title Four and a Half Vulcans. What you got?
4.5 Vulcans. Oh, the Vulcan appropriation. And so this episode is entitled 4.5 Vulcans, oddly enough, because it calls Spock out for only being half a Vulcan, whilst everybody is appropriating being Vulcan and fully Vulcan after being altered.
Okay. All right. Well, we were kind of sort of talking about it backstage. What were your initial impressions of this particular episode compared to previous episodes of this season or past seasons?
Quite honestly, I wish I had 2 more thumbs so I can give it 4 thumbs down. And I sat with this, and I fought the urge to text you, even call you. We can try to figure out what the hell is going on. Now, don't get me wrong. There were absolutely quirky and funny moments. Jermaine can't keep his headphones on, in which I enjoyed. I will not lie. There were quirky and funny moments that I enjoyed. I love a good pun. I love humor. I love dry humor. All of those things, right? And all of those things were indeed present. But for the level of Trek that I have been seeing to get this, I was a little bit taken aback. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get me wrong. Love the actors. I love the entire species of Vulcan. I love that. It just did not deliver for me.
And when you say it did not deliver, what do you mean by that?
There was no real threat. There was that. And then of course, if you want to stretch, the threat of remaining Vulcan forever as your choice. Okay, I guess that's some kind of threat, whatever. But it was so quirky to the point to where it just didn't work for what I've been seeing across the episodes of Star Trek. And don't get me wrong, I chuckled. There were very funny moments, but this to me, and as a neophyte Star Trek, I'm gonna premise it by saying that as a neophyte Trekkie, to me, this was not Star Trek. This was bullshit.
And I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. This was not it. It was the story in and of itself was kind of like, okay, we're going there. We want these humans to become Vulcans, full-blooded Vulcans. And then the fact that I don't know if you know this, but like Vulcans aren't born suppressing their emotions, right? Over time, they learn to suppress their emotions. And so all of a sudden you have these humans who have learned to suppress their emotions. What is this? What is going on? And then what I really didn't like was the fact that, okay, when they went to this planet, they beamed on this planet, and 2 seconds later, they've solved the... What? As great as Spock is, we have never seen that. Okay, so there are 4 of them. Okay, there are 4 of them.
And a half.
But 2 seconds?
2 seconds. It was like, what was the threat? Exactly. What happened? Like, if y'all were gonna do this, make it Trek. You did not make it Trek at all. It was, oh my God.
I would have enjoyed seeing them on the planet, solving it in 2.2 seconds. I even would have enjoyed, okay, so in my opinion, La'an's character was the most fascinating. of them because she added an element of, ooh, what's going to happen with this, right? So if they had played along those lines and maybe gotten the other Vulcans, to like kind of stop her, that to me would have been like impressive, right? But they didn't go that route. And I also didn't like at the very end that whole dancing thing that she did with.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, okay. What you got?
No, no, please continue. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you wholeheartedly because I was confused. I know they've been doing this whole literal and figurative dance thing with La'an and Spock, and I appreciate a display of art. And the beauty of that, it was ill placed. It was ill placed. It was like, what in the actual hell is this? And I'm sitting there like fighting the urge to like throw my phone at the television because I was like, why would you put this? Okay, you know what? It's beautiful. The dancing is absolutely beautiful, but why? Why? You could have inserted them doing the Thriller dance, and I'm sure while they're Vulcans, and I'm sure it would have been beautifully executed. But why would you put it in there? Why?
I mean, I understood the concept. What they would, it was like her Vulcan half was fighting her human half. Got it. But at the same time, I'm. You got to think about a viewer who's watching this. What kind of sense does this make? Like, what's happening here? What's really going on? Are they gonna fall in love, or are they not gonna fall in love? Let it be known right now in this instant. I need to know, because if it's not, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
We're just gonna keep doing this dance.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And another thing, before I have a couple more questions for you. But they have wasted, I don't know how many episodes of like these. What did you call it the last time? These antics, these these fantics, these whatever they are, hijinks. That was the word you used. These hijinks. We get 10 episodes, and it feels like 4 of the episodes have been these hijinks. And I don't know how I feel about that as someone who really, really loves Star Trek. 1 would be good. 2, okay, all right, I'm with you. But more than 2, that's too much.
It again, from everything that has been going on, the in and out, and not in a good way, it's just been subpar for me with this episode. And so even down to La'an, not La'an, I'm sorry, Captain Battelle, when she has this whole trying to go back to work thing. Okay, wait, what? You're fighting with your superior, then you turn around and you get a promotion, and you still got the Gorn in you?
It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too
Make
much.
that make sense for me. Like, so y'all just, oh, I'm about to retire soon. Thank you so much for putting me in my place. And here's the promotion. Even though we don't know what the hell is going on in your body.
Only to find out at the very end, he liked the fact that she was being honest. But okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. But none of it made sense.
I don't get it.
It did not make sense. Okay, so we're talking about how characters are interacting with each other. So let me just ask the question: How do the characters interactions and development in this episode enhance the overall story arc of this episode? Or let's just say this season. Let's be kind. Let's say this season. It might make more sense if we look at it from the perspective of the season.
Okay. An arc. I don't know that there's an arc. I feel like it was a flat line. And I'm Korean right now. I'm sorry. I don't know about an arc, but I will say the characters juxtaposed to how they typically are when they become Vulcan. At least we can address those that did that. obviously and quite directly dehumanize them to the fact that they are nearly unrecognizable. And so um they really kind of played in the face of the Vulcans for me. That's why I say Vulcan appropriation at the beginning. Um, I don't know if I can even realistically answer that question because to me it just wasn't an arc. If anything, it was a setback.
Mm,
Um, and it did. I will say this: it did show how um, it is absolutely necessary to have those emotions. And even though sometimes they might not be in check, but to completely take that away impedes them from doing what it is they're there to do effectively,
mm,
especially when you're playing to each other's strengths. And so,
mhm,
whereas I'll use Chapel for instance, you're productive, you're working on a million different projects, and I'm sure you're going to execute them. But at the same time, you're willing to give up all of your friends. You don't want to socialize with anybody. So it changes the complete essence of who you are, and it could be one of those moments where people need one of those little chapel chats or what have you to kind of get them back in focus and what have you. And so yeah, I know I didn't answer the question that you asked, but I didn't see a character arc. It, to me, is like I said, it was a flat line. It,
So, what I would have loved from those four characters who became Vulcan, I would have loved them realizing something about themselves that they never would have known because they became Vulcan, or it was realized it was we knew it, but they didn't see it in themselves. Now that they're Vulcans, they can see it in themselves. I would have loved some revelation of that magnitude to have occurred due to this, I don't know, transformation. But none of that happened. It was just so many missed opportunities, I think.
they brought um Captain Kirk in, and they kind of weaved in a little bromance between him and Scotty. And so I don't know if in the hold on, how do you guys say it? TOS.
Oh, TOS. Yeah.
If that was a thing, if they were kind of bros or something in the original series, um, or not. But they kind of threw him in there. I think that was a bit of a waste. I
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
You know what? When I saw it, okay, let me be honest. You know how like I know like if something is not good, I fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I started scrolling on my phone. And when it was over, I looked up and I was just like, oh, this episode really wasn't good. I was scrolling on my phone. But the point I really wanted to make was this. There was absolutely no point of having James Kirk in that particular episode. None whatsoever. None. None. I will be happy when they finally make the transition and say, okay, your character is now the captain of this starship. Because just throwing him in here and there for the last couple of times that we've seen him, it served no purpose. It served no purpose other than to kind of sort of get us ready for what is about to happen. Dude, we already know what's going to happen. Pike is going to end up crippled. We know that. We know that from TOS. We were reminded of it during Discovery. In the first season, several times they reminded us of it. We know it's going to happen. You don't need to keep teasing us with them. My
Yeah,
thoughts.
I didn't understand it. That's why I was just like, okay, well maybe I don't know. This is the foreshadowing of some great romance or something that's going to happen. But even again, watching it through a neophyte lens, I just thought it was unnecessary. I absolutely did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, what do you think the episode reveals about Vulcan culture and the growing complexity of Star Trek's universe?
So, um, who was it? Pelia that said Vulcan's a jerk, and then turns to Spock and says, "No offense," and he's like, "Vulcans can be jerks." So I think they kind of hyper played that Vulcans are these very smug and seemingly superior,
Arrogant,
huh?
arrogant.
Yeah, arrogant species. However, even with that being in there, Vulcans are very necessary. They can get things done. They
Mhm.
can get things done quite effectively. Um, but they need balance. They need balance. And so that's what I took from that, because being completely emotionless serves no one.
Were there any standout moments or themes that resonated with you personally?
Um, so stand out would be the overplayed version of La'an's aggression. And so to me, like, that kind of speaks to what's in her. She is a warrior, and so that's something that's always playing in the background, and turning her Vulcan, that basically just activated her even more. And so to
Mhm.
me, that stood out quite a bit. I feel like you mentioned it, back there quite a bit. And how you would have liked to see her interact with the other Vulcans and let there be some type of play out with that. But at any rate, that stood out for me. Also, Neota basically doing mind control with Beta.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
I thought it was really funny. I chuckled whenever she said a lap dog would be more compliant. Basically, like, no, this was his choice. But so to kind of see Neota be a jerk was
Yeah,
was interesting for me. But Pelia always,
yeah.
even in a subpar episode, she still is always gonna make me laugh just because she's Pelia.
Yeah. So for me, it was if there were anything, okay. So it would be the whole subplot of Laan, right? in in the context of the Vulcans and the Romulans, perhaps this helps to explain who and what the Romulans are, or like why they split from Vulcan. Um, that kind of gives me like some insight, just a little, not a lot, but perhaps it's something that might happen in some later iteration of Star Trek. How does this episode challenge or reinforce your expectations of the series?
I'm not buffering. I just got an attitude. Um, so it challenges me because we typically go on a scale from Mayfair to 10. And I don't think I've rated any of the episodes that I've watched, on the lower end. And so it challenges me in that, because I love the series so much, I really wanted to give this episode a chance. But they just hyper played this hijinks crap. And it was a colossal letdown for me as a viewer, as a new viewer. Um, of Star Trek. And so it's challenging me to want to go into the next episode with high expectations. Because after the episode before this one wasn't a bad episode. It just wasn't one of my favorites. And so to receive this after that, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
we're headed in the wrong direction.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so I really feel challenged, because we're nearing the end. We are
right.
nearing the end, and so I don't want to become um what's the word that I'm looking for?
This
Disgusting.
reminds me of the last season of The Last of Us.
That's not a compliment.
At all,
It's not at all a
at all.
compliment.
At all, at all, at all. All right. Especially considering they had two strong seasons under their belt, and then they give us this season. It's like you're meandering, and it's not a good thing. You thought that you could ride your high and save some money on some writers. No, you need to go back to your season 1 and 2 writers, because season 3 has been a letdown completely. Um, and that gets me thinking about future storylines for the remainder of the season. The last two episodes of this season have got to be the bomb.com like slaying on 10. It's got to, because I don't know. I don't know how they rebound from this. How do you feel about the balance between action, character exploration, and world building in this episode?
What action? What exploring? Okay, so what you've explored was how to play in the Vulcan's face and be backhanded with them the entire episode. So the exploration flatline, um the action flatline, literally dead on arrival. Do not resuscitate. There's nothing you could do for this. This is there. It no, didn't happen. Did not
Mm,
happen. And so, like we
mm,
were kind of discussing it throughout um this recording. Hey, what if they would have done this?
mm.
There was no real impending threat. Or at least if there was a perceived, threat with them trying to assist with the shucks, I can't remember the name of the people they were going to assist.
That
Um,
planet.
huh?
Just say that planet.
Okay, that planet. Like you said, we didn't get to see them once they beamed down. So the action there was none. It was lackluster. Now again, I say there were chuckles but this is not a comedy, not completely. And so there it didn't happen. I didn't see an action. I did not. And like you said, that dance scene in the end, I can't let it, I can't unsee it. And I wish I could. And
So,
so
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
I'm like exploration. The science piece is still there. Okay. So you're exploring ways in which I guess you already had the capability to just turn four people Vulcan. Okay, awesome. That's amazing that you can do that. But just overall flatline. I didn't see any action. It was inaction across the entire episode.
Since you mentioned it, something that I saw that I really did not care for. Um, yes, Christine was the one who got Spock turned back Vulcan. Okay, got it. But she was a Vulcan. At a certain point, Dr. Mbinga, being a doctor, should have been like, okay, let me see your research. Let me see what you did. Or let me see what they did. Let me figure this stuff out in the interim, because we might need that technology in the future, right? He was so hands off on it. I didn't appreciate that. I didn't
Yeah,
appreciate that at all.
yeah.
Any doctor to not be hands on about that. I didn't like it. Even though Chapel she's for all intents and purposes, she's a doctor. She is a doctor. She just has the nurse next to it. I get that, but if I don't know, if you're the chief medical officer, you gotta have some skin in the game. I didn't care for that. So in terms of character exploration, there wasn't a whole lot of character exploration that we hadn't already seen in previous episodes. It was just rehashing what we'd already seen. Action, as you said, there was no action other than the one of the final scenes where Spock and La'an were fighting, dancing. Again, weird. No world building whatsoever. Um, except if they had delved a little bit more into La'an and how and why the Romulans had left Vulcan. Like that would have been like some world building, even though it's a world that already exists. It didn't exist. Next question. Are there any unanswered questions or plot points you'd like to see addressed
All my questions just points to why this episode.
later?
I'm 100% serious. That's it. That's all I got. Why this episode?
Yeah. No plot points for me that I necessarily need to see addressed later. At this point, as I said before, just make the man, meaning Kirk, the captain, and let's go on with it.
And this Gorn thing with
Yeah,
Hell that, and I did mention that earlier, like how and okay. I'm interested to see how that's gonna play out with you having this dangerous creature inside of you and being over
the justice system. So on a scale of Mayfair to 10, how would you rate this particular episode?
Mayfair.
Ooh, a 1.
Mayfair.
Wow. It's definitely forgettable. It's not one that I'm ever going to remember. It's really really bad, and I was set to give it a 2. I wasn't set to give it a 1, but I was set to give it a 2. So there you have it. You have a 1 and a 2 from the two of us. Any any parting words before we leave?
Don't do it again. Don't like I obviously I'm knowing these are already recorded, and I'm just really, really, really hoping because I enjoy this series. I really do that they don't do this hijinks crap again. Keep it trick and the nerve of a Neo to say that. But please keep it trick. This is not it. For me to give this Mayfair says a lot. And I have not, aside from, the little chuckles that I got in there, I have not had very positive things to say about this episode. And I could typically find something to keep it off the Mayfair, not Strange New Worlds, because this is not that. It's well written. Even the episodes that are not my favorites are still good episodes. This was not it.
Yeah, yeah. Until next time, keep it real. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social media. Y'all have a good one.
This they live long and prosper.